Good afternoon and welcome to the Sabi Sands. Just seen an antelope called a grey duiker, and they're one that we really battled to show you guys, so we're going to do our best to get you a glimpse of this one. It's just in the thickets there where Andrew, who's on camera with me this afternoon, is pointing. Sadly, they often dart off. This one seems to be sticking around for now. And if we can just make it, a minute or two, if we can just make it a meter or two further forward, we might be able to get a shot of it. Oh, it's just so thick in there. But Andrew might be able to work his magic. Oh, see some movements, and it's just walking off, which is good for us because usually they go running off. It's probably just... There we go. Should be better now. I'm not giving up on this little duiker, so now we're going to reverse and try and see if we can get it from the other angle. Bear with me, but welcome on board. It's a beautiful sunny day. Not many clouds in the sky. Not too much of a breeze, so it's considerably warmer than the other days we've been experiencing over the last week. Well, it just wasn't meant to be. It's just slunk off a little bit further. And I'm sure all you saw were a few grey blurs. That's a fully grown antelope. And we'll try and find you one another day. So again, welcome everyone. And Brent and I have devised an initial plan for this afternoon's drive. I'm going to head towards where we last had tracks of Kunyuma, a young male leopard, from this morning's drive. He was seen very briefly but then lost in a thick block. We managed to find some of his tracks coming out of that block, very fresh tracks, but just couldn't seem to find him. But we know where we had his last tracks and have a good idea where he probably spent a fair amount of time relaxing during the day. I don't think he would have covered too much ground in the course of the day, but he could have. Anyway, so we're going to head over there as a starting point to see if we can find any tracks, and Brent and Brian are going to go and see if they can find any further sign of a pack of wild dogs. Nobody saw the dogs, there was just a few footprints seen of them, a few tracks, and Brent's going to head across there. So I'm basically heading to the south, he's heading to the north, and then we'll see what happens later on. Plans often do change. Now, for any of you who are joining for the first time, it's important to know that this is a live safari and it's also interactive, so at any point you could ask us questions, and to do that you would hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or send an email through to questions@WildEarthTV. And Alex, who's in the final control room, will do his best to try and get those through to either myself or Brent. Well, let's cut across to Brent and see how the first few minutes of his drive have been so far and what he's been up to, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later, hopefully with some good news about Kunyuma and his tracking.
welcome on drive this afternoon, guys. Brian's on camera with me, and just as we headed out this afternoon, we managed to find some giraffe, although they're not being very cooperative in terms of being seen, hiding in some guarri thickets. But it's quite nice. We don't see giraffe that often in this part of the Sabi Sands, because we're dominated by what's called broad-leafed woodland, which is made up mostly of combretums, and they prefer acacia woodland. So it's always nice, and in certain areas we do have nice acacia woodland, so it's always nice to see giraffe. This is only the second time I've seen giraffe since I've been here, and quite interesting, the female that Brian's focused in on now has only got, well, a horn and a half, and it's a female, so it's not from fighting, so she was probably born with it, or an injury happened when she was very young, and that's caused that horn to not grow, or as I said, it could have just been a birth defect. It's quite difficult to tell while she's still hiding behind the guarri bush, but I can't see any signs of trauma or whatnot that might have caused it, so it could just be she was born like that. And being a female, not having two horns is not really going to affect her too much.
This morning, apparently Birmingham and Gala following something Yari towards Jordan, heading south from Manileti. There was a lot of in the south. Okay, something was working.
Sorry guys, I'm just listening to the radio, just getting an update for what's going on in the afternoon. I'll be back with you in a second. There she goes. Unfortunately, where they're going is quite thick, and we're not going to be able to follow much further, but at least we know they're in the area, so hopefully maybe later on they'll come out into a more open area. So as we spotted the giraffe, we also saw a big elephant bull crossing the road in front of us, so we thought we'd just get the giraffe in the bag since we don't see them that often, and we're going to go have a look for that big Eddie bull now. And remember guys, any questions you might have on Twitter, just hashtag Safari Live, or via email on questions at WildEarthTV. Whoopsie, there's a stump we didn't see. Sorry stations, my radio was down there. Just to let you know, there's a breeding herd coming to drink at Sydney's dam, a breeding herd of a dog. So I've just spotted a herd of elephant on its way down to a dam to drink. Unfortunately, that dam falls just to our north, off our Traverse area, but it'd actually be quite a really nice wide shot because the elephants have really got that water walk on. Where do you want to stop, Brian? A little bit further down? I love it when they have that sort of water walk. They get sort of excited and they sort of boom, 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 boom down to the water. There we go. And you don't always have to be very close to the animals to enjoy it. See, there's a little one there, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, including the little one. Looks like a young bull, well, adult bull to the left, and then a small breeding herd to the right. So they've obviously built up a thirst. It's really warm at the moment. Probably around, what do you think, 33, 34 degrees Celsius?
At least.
I'm afraid I'm not very good at doing conversions into Fahrenheit. Just give me a second while I work it out. I think it's around 100, but I might be wrong, so maybe you guys out there can help me. So we think it's about 33 or 34 degrees Celsius, so maybe you guys could tell me what it is in Fahrenheit, and please send your replies to questions at WildEarthTV or just hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So an elephant's able to drink up to 100 liters in a sitting, but they don't often, where they have reliable water sources, do that. It's more in places where there's very few water sources around. Good afternoon, Sue. Welcome on Game Drive with us. Sue would like to know, she's never heard of a giraffe vocalization, and what does it sound like? Sue, the only time I've ever heard giraffes vocalize is when there are lions attached to them, and it's a sort of very low mourn, like grunt almost. It's very difficult to describe. They vocalize very infrequently, and the only other time I've heard about giraffe vocalizing is when we've been doing game capture. So as far as I've been able to tell, that generally the giraffe only vocalize in times of extreme stress, and it's sort of snorts and grunts, nothing very loud. That little one looks like he's having an absolute ball there. Never know, we might get lucky, and once they finish drinking they might move along this way.
Start and end your day on safari. Every day, twice a day through January 31st, join a real African
Direction is here. I think it'd be worth us being patient and just sitting here and seeing where they go. They drank at quite a sandy patch of the dam there. They might move to where there's a bit more mud and spray some mud, hopefully. Let's keep watching. Well, thanks very much, Joanne from Arizona, who says 33 degrees Celsius or 34 degrees Celsius is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And how's that for the beginning of our winter? So during the days we'll still get quite warm temperatures, but at night it will drop quite a lot. See, I'm just going to move. Drop forward. See, I think they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They went and found a muddy spot and they've started spraying mud. They've gone to a far more muddy spot and started to spray mud to cool down and also to deal with some of the parasites. Sorry, Alex, I didn't copy you there. Quite nice with the heat haze.
Mobile in the north.
Okay, guys, we're just going to cross to Scott quickly, and we'll stay here and make sure the elephants, or see where the elephants go. So over to Scott.
Well, if you look closely, there's a small animal slinking through the grass there, and it's an animal that I've never been able to show any of you. There, it's poked its head out. And that is a slender mongoose. And it came down to the water's edge hoping to get a drink, but it's very scared. There's a lot of other animals here, and it darted off after its first attempt. But here it looks like it's found a little puddle to drink from. And they're solitary mongoose, unlike the dwarf and banded mongoose, the two other type of mongoose we get here. There's a fourth that we see, a white-tailed mongoose, who are also typically more solitary, but they are nocturnal, whereas the rest of the mongoose are diurnal, like this one here. And they're typically such shy animals, we only ever get glimpses of them. But in this unique situation, when it was coming down to drink, we got lucky. So I just thought we would link back from Brent, and I believe you're having a wonderful sighting with him at the moment. So it might be worth linking back to him now that the slender mongoose has scurried off into the thick vegetation where we won't see it again. We are here at Treehouse Dam. There's a lot of buffalo around today, and also one lone hippo in the dam, but no sign of Kunyuma yet. I was hoping we were going to find some form of sign of his, but nothing yet, and we'll continue on our quest to track him down. But you can't help but stop along the way when you have beautiful sightings like this. You'll notice Andrew's panned across to this individual buffalo that's got quite a bad wound on its shoulder, and the oxpeckers taking advantage of this. As useful as the oxpeckers are for removing ectoparasites from a lot of the herbivores, they can be a little bit detrimental by keeping wounds open and not letting them heal, because they are happy to drink the blood directly from the buffalo rather than waiting for any form of parasites to suck it up for them. And there's another vehicle that's just arrived on the scene. And the call you can hear the oxpeckers calling out is a very, very useful one to take note of, because if you hear this noise when you are on a walking safari, it could alert you to any potential harm, like these Cape buffalo, who will certainly cause some trouble for you if you do bump into them at close quarters on a walking safari. They've got a very short temper. And it appears that the oxpeckers are having some kind of a meeting here on the back of this individual. They're getting very, very worked up, and now two of them are squabbling over that little wound, and a few more now. So possibly that's what it's all about. Craig, can you copy me? Craig. Brent, if you could just let Craig know that 5 and Yorni headed west from Treehouse Dam. Craig, if you copy me, 5 and Yorni headed west from here a few minutes ago. Five in Yorni headed west from Treehouse Dam just a few minutes ago. Okay, well, as wonderful as this sighting is, I think Brent's got a little bit more action across where he is. So let's link back to him, and myself and Andrew will continue searching around here for any possible sign of Kunyuma, and not only Kunyuma, anything else of interest that we bump into along the way. So we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. Well, some of the elephants have finished mud bathing, and now we're hoping that these others here look like they might go for a bit more of a swim. Splash, splash. Good afternoon, Kathy from Tennessee. Welcome on Game Drive with us this wonderful afternoon here at Djuma Private Game Reserve in South Africa. Kathy would like to know, why do elephants flap their ears? Is it to communicate, or is it to keep cool? Most of it is to keep cool, Kathy. An elephant can have a big elephant can have up to 8 liters of blood in the vessels in its ears. And what it does by flapping them is it brings that blood to the surface, and by flapping it cools the blood, and then it pumps the blood to the rest of its body. Oh, there comes the big bull. He looks like he's going to chase the little ones because he can. All 3 little boys look like they've stopped dead in their tracks. It's always wonderful watching elephants around water. They really do seem to enjoy it. Have you guys noticed that sort of looks like a floating log in the foreground? That's actually the back of a hippo. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. All those boys, they're a little bit too young to really threaten the big bull at the back. They might just play a little bit. Oh, they're really going into the water now. There's a hippo in the foreground. It's like, what are these creatures doing in my domain? Oh, look, that elephant's just gone right under the water. I say I'm quite jealous. That looks quite fun. Ready to get one more. Isn't that a wonderful sighting? Oh, even the big boys deciding this looks so much fun. Look at that, the big boys decided to try go completely under as well. Although you wouldn't think it, elephants are actually quite capable swimmers. Look at that huge elephant bull is probably 3.5 meters at the shoulder. Only the top of his back and head are showing at the moment. Wouldn't it be quite funny if they decided to start chasing the hippos for fun? Oh, more elephants arriving. Oh look, one's climbing on the big one to the left. They're actually climbing on his back. Yeah. Woof. Copy, thanks very much. Second herd of elephants has arrived at the dam, so we're probably going to stay here for a bit. Good afternoon, Kim from Chicago. Welcome on Drive. And what a wonderful way it is to start Drive this afternoon with Ellies in the dam. And Kim would like to know, would hippos run off Ellies? Not at all, Kim. The elephants would definitely chase the hippos. They are much, much bigger and much stronger, and the hippos know that and will try to stay away and avoid confrontation with the elephants. As you can see, most of the hippos have moved to the sort of bottom right of the shot, away from where the elephants are swimming. There's a second herd of elephants that's arrived as well. It'll be quite interesting to see how the greeting goes. If the greeting is quite a civil one, it's possibly that they are from related groups. So the matriarchs of the two different family groups might be sisters or cousins. And it looks that to be the case. There's a hippo opening his mouth in the foreground. He just disappeared there. Oh, boom! That young boy is having a whale of a time. Making sure the dam knows who's boss. Quite interesting. Because of the other swimming, it might entice some of the other elephant from the second herd that's arrived to also come further into the dam. Oh, more elephants arriving in the background. Elephant Central this afternoon. Full zoom out. There's been some questions why we can't zoom in more or go closer to the elephants. Unfortunately, this dam is to the north of our traverse area. So we're sitting on the boundary now and watching the elephants in the dam. We're quite lucky that there's a nice open plain in front of the dam so we can watch it. So the camera is at full zoom when we are tight. At the moment, Briar's a bit wider so you can see how many elephants are down there at the moment. But when he goes in, that is the full zoom of the camera. Unfortunately, we cannot go any closer. It's still such an incredible sighting. Good afternoon, Adam in Mississippi. Welcome on Drive. Adam says he saw a video clip on National Geographic of a croc trying to grab a baby elephant, and it accidentally grabbed mom and got a beating because of it. And Adam would like to know, how often do crocs try to grab baby elephants? Adam, very, very seldom would be my guess. I think it's an exception rather than the norm. Possibly because the females would react so strongly to a croc trying to grab a baby. And it would have to be a very big crocodile even to take a baby elephant. Baby elephant is a lot bigger and heavier than you would think.
Coming. Come in. You got the bank on this side.
Look, looks like they're doing almost the exact same as the first group that came down. Like they're heading to the mud. Such a privilege to be able to watch these animals like this. Good afternoon, Broma from Minnesota. Broma would like to know whether oxpeckers have the ability to transmute blood-borne pathogens from one buffalo to the next. Broma, I would doubt so, but I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think so, but as I said, I could be wrong. With most blood-borne pathogens, they die within seconds of exposure to oxygen. So one would think that even if an oxpecker is feeding on a tick that is full of buffalo blood or on an open wound on a buffalo, by the time it's moved on to the next buffalo, the oxygen would have killed off those pathogens. As I said, I might be wrong, but as far as I know, most blood-borne pathogens are wiped out completely by exposure to oxygen. Robin on Twitter, good afternoon, welcome. Robin is asking which waterhole this is. This is called Sydney's Dam, and it's in Buffels Hook. Stay on those two on the right, yeah. They're going to have a little pushing match.
Okay, I've managed to come up on the side here. I'm going to head back towards that side, see if I can get back in a minute.
Good afternoon, Jane from Montreal, and happy birthday from the whole Wild Earth crew out here in Djuma Private Game Reserve. Jane would like to know whether we could go check on the mother and baby water buck at the Arethusa, on Arethusa. Unfortunately, at the moment, Jane, we're not able to go on to Arethusa because of some technical difficulties. Our signal strength at the moment, we're waiting for new equipment from Johannesburg to be able to rectify that problem. So at the moment, unfortunately, we would have loved to have obliged on your birthday, but we're not going to be able to, I'm afraid. But we do hope you have a very, very wonderful birthday. So two little boys having a bit of a argy-bargy. Nothing serious. It's almost like the one in the water is trying to say, get the dry one to come swim as well. Oh, it looks like you might take his frustration out on the hippos. Oh, not quite. He thought about it. Having lots of fun making a mess there, making big splashes. Copy, thanks Alex. Like, why won't he play with me? Why won't he come swim? There's the rest of the herd moving off to start feeding, and pretty much the only elephants left in the water and around the dam are young bulls and that big adult bull that we saw earlier. It really does look like he's trying to entice the other guy into the dam. There he's going to shake his head at the hippos quickly. Good afternoon, Bob from Chicago. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Bob would like to know, in a large herd like this, all of them related, Well, judging on the way they behaved around each other, I'd probably say it's 2 or 3 different family groups, but probably mostly related. Maybe even as close as sort of first cousins, second cousins, but even as far maybe as third or fourth cousins. So when you have large groupings of elephant like that, and there isn't that much sort of trumpeting and screaming between them, it is possible. It's always difficult to be sure, but it is possible that they are related cousins, aunties, etc.
There you go.
Oh, it looks like finally the lure of everyone else playing in the water has got the better of the bull who was standing on the edge, and he's decided to join them. Whoa! Brrr. Trumpet. Brian, I think the elephants have the right idea. We should be in a pool at the moment.
Yeah, we should be in there with those eddies.
Well, if we were in there with the ellies, I think the crocodiles are far more likely to go for us than the elephants.
And the hippo.
And the hippo too. Be quite a dangerous swimming pool. My dad's got a favourite saying. There's only one way to ensure you never get bitten by a crocodile, and that's to make sure you treat every little bit of water in the bush in Africa like it's got a crocodile. The rest of the herd is actually just completely melted away into the savannah, just leaving the young boys at play in the dam. Well, guys, it looks like most of the fun is being had, and I think those edibles look like they're in here for the long haul. So what my plan is to do next is I'm going to go have a double check on that herd of buffalo we found this morning, see if possibly they've moved towards water as well. So we'll leave the Ellies to their bathing and see what else we can find. Good afternoon, Geraldine in Canada. Geraldine would like to know whether there's a hierarchy in elephant breeding herds. Most definitely, Geraldine, there's a hierarchy. You have a matriarchal female who will lead the small family groups, or sometimes big family groups, and she sort of decides where to go, where they should go feed, where they should go drink, makes all the sort of movement decisions and that. But also amongst the elephant bulls. With elephant bulls it's a bit different. The hierarchy is whoever's biggest and strongest wins. So that's how it works with the boys. With the females it's not necessarily always the biggest, but there will be a matriarchal female that leads the herd. I've got an interesting one for you guys out there. Who can tell me the original sort of Victorian English collective noun for a herd of elephants? Please send your answers with hashtags Friday Live to Twitter, or via email to questions@WildEarthTV. It's got a very pretty bird that I'm sure our regular viewers will know well by now. It's a lilac-breasted roller. Very, very beautiful bird. Rollers get their name from a display they do in flight, where they don't physically roll sort of 360 degrees, but they have this really rolling flight that they do as a display, and that's where they get their name. And all the roller species. Whoa! Oh, he tried to catch something. Did he get it? It looks like he caught a grasshopper or something. Can't really see just yet. He's got something in the grass. What was the first name? Lisa said for that question about the elephants, a memory. No, Lisa, as far as I know. And then it's not a memory. Eleanor on Twitter said a memory and a parade. A parade is the correct answer. And I don't know if anyone remembers Disney's Jungle Book. I think maybe that's sort of the inspiration, having those elephants marching like military men. A parade of elephants. Well, maybe today we'll do some more old collective nouns for animals. So Ellen from Illinois also got it correct. Oh, he's having a real feast there. Can you see exactly what he's eating, right?
Not too sure.
James and Robin also got it correct. Well, we know he doesn't eat seeds or grass, so there's definitely insects. Maybe it could be harvested termites. Those would be a tasty treat if you're a roller. But whatever they are, they're very small and we can't really see them. Just hold one up to the camera for me there. But just the fact that he's eating so many would make me guess harvested termites. Well, looks like he had a good afternoon snack. We're going to continue on to see if we can find the buffalo from where they were this morning. Goodbye, Mr. Roller. Scott coming. I just would like to know what area Scott's working in at the moment, so I can plan where I'm going to go from here if we don't get any luck with the buffalo. Okay, copy, thanks very much. So the buffalo have moved on. They were lying up over here this morning. Check if we can pick up their tracks.
Yeah, look to this side. I don't know, maybe he went south or north. I don't know. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'll check where. Okay, got it. Thanks, boss. I just said that more.
Well, there's no tracks of the buffalo crossing over the road, so maybe they've actually headed further into Djuma.
Make the way you let us come take here and don't let me. Alright. I come from north. You understand?
Okay, guys, we're going to cross over to Scott for a short while, see what he's got in the south of the reserve, and we'll continue to look for this buffalo along the north. There's some dung on the road now, but let's go across to Scott and see what he's got.
Welcome back, and this is a Burchell's kukul that we're looking at, a predatory bird and a fairly secretive bird. We don't often get to show them out in the open like this, so this is a unique and great sighting of this specific bird, and we've been watching it for a few minutes now. It was on that perch originally as we arrived, and as soon as we arrived it kind of hopped down and was foraging for any snacks in the reeds below it, and now it's headed back to the exact same perch where you can see it's just enjoying some time to relax. Now, just an update on what we've been doing and what our plan is. Aubrey, one of the other game viewers, has had some joy in locating Kunyuma, who is the leopard that we were looking for this morning and also this afternoon. There's already 3 vehicles in the area, and he's lying up in a very thick block, so it's not a great visual of him at the moment, and we're just going to stand by here and hope that things improve and that we'll be able to get a glimpse of him in a few moments. Probably not any time very soon, because there are 3 vehicles, like I said, that would all like to have a look at him, and we just simply need to wait our turn. So that's what we're doing, and for those of you who are new to the Safari Live experience, it's a good opportunity for me to explain the vehicle protocol in sightings, and there's a limit to 3 vehicles per sighting, sometimes even less if they are small cubs or difficult areas to negotiate. It may be limited to only 2 or sometimes even only 1 vehicle per sighting. But for a regular sighting of an adult animal of any description, it would be 3 vehicles. So we are the 4th and therefore on first standby. So as soon as the first vehicle leaves, we can make our way in. So great prospects for later on, and well done to Aubrey for tracking him down, and look forward to hopefully seeing him a bit later. Thankfully, this Burchell's kukul's got the same plan as us, and that's just sitting tight at the moment, so we're happy to enjoy the company that it's sharing with us. You may have heard some loud shrieking a few moments ago. That was 2 parrots flying over at high speed, and they didn't land anywhere nearby. We do get a parrot called a brown-headed parrot in this part of the Kruger National Park. It's quite a small parrot, and we have managed to show people a handful of them, but again, not a very easy animal for us to share with you. They're often high up in the canopies of the trees. You could possibly even hear that high-pitched parrot-like shriek now as they... Oh, where did it go, Andrew? Down onto the foraging again.
A little bit further up.
Further up there. You'll probably notice a vehicle driving in the background. They're trying to get into this leopard sighting that's just been re-established. Aubrey had a visual of him, and then he moved off and they lost him, and they've only just re-found him now. But sadly, the kukul has moved off from its perch where it was sitting perfectly out in the open for us. But what a beautiful setting you can see we're in. There's a very big riverbed called the Mulwati riverbed that we're sitting in, and funnily enough, it's an area that I've spent so much time searching for leopard, hoping to find one in here, and today's the first time that there has been a leopard in here. He has just moved out of the main sandy riverbed where he was found lying up by Aubrey, so we got close to fulfilling a dream of sharing a leopard with you in the site, in this setting. But sadly, today might not be the day, but that doesn't matter. As long as we get to see Kunyuma, it would be great. I saw him more than any other leopard in the 2.5 months I spent here up until the 31st of January this year, and especially in the last week or two we had a lot of great sightings with him. So I really look forward to seeing him again. He's a beautiful young male leopard, and stay tuned because with a little bit of luck we're all going to have a great afternoon spent looking at him. In the meantime though, while we wait, let me just take you guys up to Twin Dams. It's just behind us, and let's see what we can find up there. Well, the usual suspects at waterholes at this time of the afternoon are buffalo, and no surprise to find a few more here. It looks like there's only one left. The rest are slowly heading off just ahead of us. But the great thing about waterholes at this time of the year, they're going to continue to get more and more active and busy as the months go on, because it is drying up rapidly at the moment, and these become the only sources of water for birds. Let's try and get this Cape turtle dove here, Andrew. Shanae on Twitter, welcome on board, Shanae. And Shanae is asking what the Birchall's kukels prey on, and they prey a lot of the time on baby chicks of other birds, but like most carnivores or predators, they'll have a wide variety of prey species because it isn't difficult to catch any given type of prey. So I've seen them catching insects, reptiles, and again small baby birds. Well, this is a Cape turtle dove we're looking at. Very pretty bird, kind of like the impala, you could say. There's numerous Cape turtle doves, so they get a little bit less attention than animals that are slightly more rare, but they do have one of the most distinctive calls of Africa that I'd love to point out for you a little bit later on this afternoon. It's just looking for a safe place to drink. A bird of this size would have to be cautious of even a terrapin snapping up at it. But thankfully, there's a grey go-away bird that's just popped in for a drink as well. So as the Cape turtle dove headed off, the grey go-away bird arrived, and now we can watch it drink. Oh, a little bit nervous, as are a lot of animals around waterholes. The risk of predators ambushing them when they have their heads down are a reality that they are very aware of. So you can't blame them for being a little bit nervous. Andrew's on fire this afternoon. I'm not even having to point him in the right direction, and he's panned across to the Birchall starling, the biggest starling we get in this area. And really pretty birds, these, especially when the sunlight is glistening off their feathers like this. And on the ground there's a blacksmith plover, or lapwing as they're now known, and a handful of starlings in the background. For those of you who are watching Drive, I think it was 2 days ago in the morning, myself and Brian had a hilarious sighting of two of these blacksmith lapwings bomb diving a troop of baboons that were moving through an area where potentially they had chicks or eggs, and it really was funny to see these baboons reacting to the blacksmith plovers as they flew down and bomb dived them. What have you found over there, Andrew? Let me get my binoculars out. I'm not sure what that could be caused by. Let's go and have a closer inspection. It's simply like a piece of grass that's been twisted around this baby leadwood tree. But how a piece of grass that's twisted around there, I'm not too sure. That is the initial makings of a weaver's nest. That's the only animal that would have the capability to weave grass that intricately. And well spotted, Andrew. It's interesting that this weaver decided building its nest not hanging over the water. As I creep forward a little bit here, you'll see another nest dangling over the water, and also in another initial platform or foundation just to the left of that, where another weaver had started attempting to build its nest. Okay, well, I'm just hearing some chatter on the radio, and it sounds like we might be able to make our way into the sighting. It might actually be worth cutting across to Brent now, Alex, if that's okay, because I'm going to have quite a bit of chattering to do and trying to establish what's going on here. So hopefully when we get into the sighting, we'll give you a call and catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. Unfortunately, the tracks of that herd of buffalo crossed unfortunately the tracks of that herd of buffalo crossed across our northern boundary sometime during the day. So it seems like with me all roads lead to Buffelshoek Dam. I really enjoyed the spot. There's always something happening. If you come out a little bit, right, there's a hippo half out the water. Oh, he's back in the water. So it's hippos, buffalo, and wonderful light. Also, we got some birds around. If we go up to the top of the bank to the right, you see there.
Yeah? Cool, thanks very much, Orbs. I think, has Craig left? I'm in no rush, I'll wait for yours or Craig. I'm in no rush. Thanks very much. Have a good afternoon. Well done, Orbs. Brilliant. Ah. Well, Alex, I've just been busy on the Game Drive channel, so I had this channel turned on, therefore didn't know I was live, but now I do, so all good. Well, we're still sitting around here and waiting for our turn, and there's some beautiful African monarch butterflies fluttering about that Andrew's found. And still waiting for the Game Drive vehicles to do what they need to do in the sighting of Kunyuma before we make our way there. There's another butterfly that looks slightly different. It's got no whites in it. I think it's a type of scarlet, but I'm not too sure. You can see it there opening its wings. So that looks like a kind of scarlet, but mainly the African monarchs. And they are such beautiful animals to watch float about, the butterflies. And it won't be long until a lot of the insects in this area have disappeared, and a lot of them died out. A lot of them only live for the summer, reproduce, lay eggs, and then die, and their eggs will then hatch the following summer. So that's something to bear in mind if you are not a fan of insects, to try and plan your safari to fall over the winter. There's not many people that I think are afraid of butterflies, but there are other insects that can get people a bit squirmish. And apologies for the lack of broadcast from Brent. He just went through a bad patch and lost his signal. So Alex had to crash across to us, which is no problem. Not when the cameraman has found something like this to film. Just waved hello to yours, another game viewer. He is on his way into the sighting. Matt in Texas, good afternoon and welcome on board. Matt's asking whether the bird family, the shrike family, here in Africa will also impale their prey onto thorns or barbed wire in order to store them up there. And yes, they certainly do. The fiscal shrike, which is a black and white shrike that we do get in this area but haven't seen very many of late, are certainly known to impale their prey and are also known as the butcher bird for that purpose, or for that reason rather. So just like overseas, and I think it's America that you are sending the message from, the shrikes here in Africa do the same thing. Oh, the virtual cuckoo's out in the middle of the road if you want to... Oh, it's just slunk across. Let's keep an eye on it, and hopefully we'll be able to show Shanae an animal that it hunts. And wouldn't it be wonderful to see it catch something? If any of you in the Kunyuma sighting can copy me, I'm standing by in the Mulwati. Craig for Scots. Well, the good news is the radio guy who was supposed to come out on Thursday but broke down will now be coming on Monday morning, and that will certainly make our lives a lot more pleasant when we get our radios fixed, because at the moment they are not really helping us as much as they should be, as you probably would have gathered over the last few drives. And that's what's making getting into the sighting a little bit difficult, because people can hear me at one moment, but then at the next they can't. So when they can't hear me, they assume I've disappeared off the planet, which is not the case, but a fair assumption on their behalf. Because if they cannot communicate with me, it's difficult for them to know what I've done.
So that must be milkweed that they...
That's a very good point. Andrew's just brought up a very good point, that could well be milkweed that they're feeding on, and that then provides them with toxins that make them inedible to predators. I'm not entirely sure if that is milkweed, but it could well be. And the toxins they acquire from feeding on the milkweed then makes them toxic to predators. And interestingly enough, there's a species of butterfly, the diadem, which looks very similar to the African monarch. And they've mimicked the African monarch for this reason, because they know that a lot of predators will avoid the African monarch due to their toxic bodily fluids. And the diadem, which is not toxic, then rides that wave by having very similar markings and patterns. So thanks, Andrew, that's a very good point. Well, the good news is we are going to be able to join this leopard sighting in just a few moments. As wonderful as it is watching these butterflies float about, I certainly am looking forward to seeing Kunyuma. And like I said, it's just a few minutes before we'll be able to make our way in there. There's just another vehicle making their way out, and then we should be able to head on in. From what I understand, it's going to be tricky for us to get into this position, but let's see what happens. Maybe not. Okay, well, this leopard is on the move and is heading back towards the riverbed, which is great news. So our timing couldn't have been any better. And at any moment he should pop into frame. Maybe not though. We should get a glimpse of him somewhere. Can you see him there, Andrew, from where you are?
Yeah.
Cool. So Andrew knows where he is, but he's just behind a very, very thick bush. And he is slowly moving about, but we're not going to be able to get into a position where we can see him just yet. So I'm going to ask you to be patient just for a moment longer. Maybe lay down.
Yeah, where is it? Yeah, it's flat cat.
Okay. Well, he has just laid down, so we're going to creep forward a little bit. See if we can get an angle on him. Well, that certainly was a sight worth waiting for. And we've got very, very lucky, because just a few minutes ago he was in quite thick vegetation. But now he's out in the open, and as you can all see, he's a beautiful, beautiful specimen. And our luck with the big cats continues. Sorry, Andrew. Afternoon, yours. Afternoon, guys. How you doing?
You?
Good. One of the benefits of us having waited all this time to join the sighting is that, well, firstly, a lot of the vehicles have moved off now and had their view of him. But more importantly, it's getting to that stage of the evening where he could become active. Looking at his belly though, and his rate of breaths, he looks fairly full-bellied, so he's not going to be hugely inclined to be out looking for food as he would be if he was obviously empty-stomached. But he will still get up at some stage, and hopefully that'll be while we are still here. Now, for those of you who are new to Safari Live, this is one of the sons from Karula's most recent litter. Now, Karula was the female leopard that we saw just a few days ago with the steenbuck kill, and she is his mother, and he is one of two brothers that she has raised rather, from her most recent litter. Well, when I say her most recent litter, she's had one more litter since she's raised these cubs to maturity, but sadly lost all of those cubs. We're not sure what she lost the initial cubs to, but one was certainly lost to hyena, which happens very often out here. A lot of leopards in the Sabi Sands lose their cubs to either hyena, lion, or even other leopards sometimes. Male leopards who did not father any cubs will relieve a female of that responsibility by killing them, thus being allowed to mate themselves and get their bloodline into the ecosystem, which is what drives males out here. It would be certainly interesting to know where his brother, named Quarantine, is lurking at the moment. The two of them seem to be spending a little bit more time further to the north, or sorry, I beg your pardon, further to the south of Djuma, whereas over December and January they were almost always on the Djuma property, which made for great leopard viewing for us, or potential leopard viewing, having these two brothers always lurking about in quite small territories. And it's quite normal for young males, when they do get kicked out by their mother at around 18 months to 2 years, that they do hang around in smaller territories where they feel safe within their mother's territory. She tolerates them within her territory, but tries to avoid them following her and eating her food, because she's already worried about raising the next family and has done everything she can for these youngsters. So they typically, like I said, hang around in quite small territories within their mother's territory, which makes it easier for us to find them. As male leopards grow older, their territories can expand and encompass 4 or 5, sometimes even more females' territories within theirs. So massive, massive areas. Which means in time to come, he could well move many, many kilometers from here in order to establish his own territory. And that makes perfect sense, because it allows for genetic variation to be moved through different areas. If they were to stay in the same area where they grew up, they could well mate with their sister or even their mother if the opportunity presented itself, but their father and other dominant males will chase them far from here before they become sexually mature. Janet in California, good afternoon and welcome on board. Janet's asking which male would be suitable or dominant in this area and therefore likely to mate with Karula. And Mvula is the name of that specific male leopard that it could be, and his territory encompasses Djuma and surroundings, and he is the father of these cubs, apparently. With leopards, they often mate with several males, and that way it makes them think that they are all the father, and that therefore increases the likelihood of those cubs surviving, because if 2 or 3 males think that they're all the father, they won't kill the cubs. So that is something that leopard have been known to do. So even though Karula was seen mating with Mvula 3 months before this leopard was born, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is in fact the father, because she could well have mated with others over that period, and who's to tell which one actually fathered the cubs. But Mvula is one leopard that we see that could well be the father of following cubs and continue to mate with Karula. And or Tingana, another male leopard who is more dominant to the west of us. To the east of us, I'm not sure who is dominant, and further north and further south of us, I'm also not too sure. But there'll be possibly 2 or 3 males that will all vie for Karula. That's a good question, Jennifer, so thanks for asking that. If you're interested to see what Mvula looks like, this leopard's father, you're going to have to tune into a few more Safari Live drives. We saw him, was it yesterday morning? I believe it was. Yesterday morning we saw him, and it was a great sighting of him pacing down a road right into the morning sunlight. And then Brent actually got to see him drinking at Buffalo's Hook Dam, which also looked like a beautiful sighting. But unlike his sons, he's got a massive territory and moves huge distances, and we don't tend to see him very often. As you can tell from the shot Andrew is now showing you, the sun is almost kind of eye level with us and should be setting in about 25 minutes from now. And it'll be interesting to see whether Kunyuma does decide to get active as that sun dips below the horizon. I'm hoping he does. We're very close, as you probably have established, to twin dams, and he might go there for a drink. That would be wonderful. But for now it looks like he's going nowhere, as you can all see. But that's not a problem at all. It's still a beautiful sight to see a leopard like this from this proximity. There's many people who have come out on safari to Africa, to many different lodges, many different times, but would never have seen a leopard just like this, with such quality, at such a close proximity, with the leopard showing very little interest in us at all. picking up that turtle dove in the audio, Andrew. So, Andrew's just confirmed that there's a bird that you can hear calling, and that's the Cape turtle dove, the same bird we saw drinking earlier at Twin Dams. So, for those of you who didn't know what its call sounds like, now you know what both the animal and the call sound like, or look like and sound like, rather. And the part of the call that we're hearing now is just almost an abbreviation. It's not their full-blown call. Just to let you know, and a lot of birds do have variations of calls. Copy, that makes sense. Now the Cape turtle dove's doing the full-blown call. It just stopped, but listen again, it should kick in shortly. And I can also hear a woodpecker tapping away on a branch, so that's something you should also be able to hear. I'm having a look for it, but can't see it at the moment. It sounds like it could be a little bit far away. And once again, Andrew's doing a great job keeping you in the loop as to the sun's progression, setting down to the west. And it's about to dip behind a cloud bank, so it will therefore get darker a little bit earlier than normal. He certainly appears to be getting a little bit more restless. And a yawn is a very good sign that a leopard might be getting active. But I think it'll still be a while before he does decide to get active, and it'll be a few more of those big yawns. Prove me wrong. I'm happy with that. Will he lie down again, as they often do, or will he continue on his way? It looks like he's feeding on some grass, just like domestic cats and dogs will do to purge the system. So that's what he's busy doing there. And not every day you see a leopard grazing, so this is an interesting one for us, but sadly it's very difficult for you to see because his head's behind a very thick bush at the moment, as you are all well aware. Okay, hold on, Andrew.
Alrighty.
Slap it a bit careful. Good job, yeah. And now you can see it continues to feed on the grass. We've just got a much better view now. We'll make sure we get out of his way so that we don't interfere in his movements, as I think he may be planning on coming back down into the riverbed, which I've been wanting to see him in for a very long time. Let me just wait here for him, because I think he is going to come through here. How are we looking back there? Good. Cool. Good. Cool. And now we eye level with them, which is situation you always hope to be in, and I hope you can pick that up from the shot we're getting. It makes such a difference viewing and photographing an animal when they are eye level with you. Just to update you on Brent and Brian, they've been having a few technical issues, but they've managed to resolve them, and at some point we'll link across back to them for an update. So they're all good. They've just been suffering a few technical issues. And here he comes. Go ahead, Alex. Kathy from Tennessee is asking the difference between a spot and a rosette. A rosette is a black ring with an opening in the middle. So in this case it'll have a caramel spot in the middle for the leopard, whereas a spot is a solid black circle without the hollow in between. So there you should be able to pick up what I mean. Probably not the best description, but like I said, you should be able to establish what I'm trying to get at. Bear with me 1 second now that I know which direction he's heading. I'm going to try and get it moving. Just did he low down again there?
Yeah, he did.
We'll just give it a moment or two. There he goes. Well, one can safely assume he's probably nibbling on some more blades of grass in there. Seems like that's been his main plan for this afternoon. And he's about to start dropping down into this beautiful sandy riverbed, and we're going to be spoilt with some incredible shots of him if he continues.
Start and end your day on safari.
bit of a chance here.
It's coming.
Okay. Where is he going to pop up?
Start and end your
Considering he's just laid down, it might be a good window of opportunity to link across. Worth going and having a look at while Kunyuma lies down. So we're going to cut across to Brent and enjoy what he has in store for you. And as soon as Kunyuma gets a bit more active, we'll come back here.
Welcome back, guys. Brian and I have made our way towards the hyena den, and we've managed to find 3 youngsters out and 1 adult. So hopefully there's the right time of the day for a bit of playing and action. So let's have a look what the hyena's up to. There's the adult resting. Oh, what a terrible noise. I'm just going to try and move the vehicle a bit so we get a better view of the youngsters. Hello, big girl. As you can see, she is completely unperturbed with our presence. You can see all the bite scars from the flies on her ears. There you can see it quite clearly how much those flies actually do bite some of the predators here. Oopsie, off on a mission. Going to investigate. Oh, see, she's calling. I don't know if you guys could hear that. Doing the youngster clean. So looks like one of the other cubs is that's definitely not his mom or her mom, but is a bit jealous of the cleaning. He comes rushing just behind to have a look. Oh, we've got an inquisitive one coming up to us. Oops, sorry. Lovely interaction. Got him by the scruff. Got a power play going on there. Quite interesting. You'd have to say that the older animal is definitely dominant. A high-ranking animal wouldn't put up with that sort of beating. Retreating to the safety of the den. Well, it seems to be getting a little bit rough. Not that a hyena can't take it. Hyenas are incredibly tough animals.
Adult there.
You've got another adult?
Yeah, right there behind the bush. Oh, it's that adolescent.
That adolescent that we saw this morning. Oh, well spotted. Now, you're a bit higher than me. I actually can't see him from where I am. Oh, there. Okay, I was looking in the wrong place. No, that adolescent was here this morning. See the submissive behavior that young one is showing to that adult there. And the last way through presenting the genitalia. See, there we go, presenting genitalia. Very submissive gesture in hyenas. Yeah, that's enough now. Off you go. There you go. Bit of suckling.
Station store with Kunyuma in the building there.
Terry in New York would like to know what happens if the animals only mate with dominant hyena. Terry, all female hyena will mate and have cubs, so that's not really a problem. So the only major thing is that their status in the clan will be decided by the rank of their mother. So if a cub is born to a low-ranking female and it's a female, she will become a low-ranking female, and vice versa going up the hierarchy. So all female hyenas will give birth, and so from the most dominant to the least dominant in the clan will all give birth. Very inquisitive little one, this. Very busy as well. Sorry? So there's an adolescent behind that bush, which Brian spotted. Brian and I are being mauled by the same flies that mauled the hyena's ears. So if you hear the odd slap, so if you hear a slap, don't worry. It's just us beating ourselves trying to keep the flies off us. We don't want our ears to end up like the hyenas. Hi, Mom. Stopping for a quick drink before causing more trouble. Number one, you're playing with a bit of fire there. There we go. I told you. Should listen to Uncle Brent. That looks like this particular cub doesn't really learn. Well, that time a look sufficed to send him on his way. Very nervous. He doesn't want to get another nip. No. You're gonna get in trouble again.
If you can make it right.
Okay guys, Brian and I are gonna, we're gonna have to do a really quick crossover to Scott. He's got something really interesting going, so over to Scott.
Welcome back, and he's just got up from the place where you last saw him lying down. I'm not sure if he heard something in there, in that direction he's heading in, because he was very relaxed before he did decide to get up. So let's see what it is that got his attention. He's sniffing around in all the bark that's fallen down off this dead acacia tree. Why, I'm not entirely certain. He's now heading into quite a thick area where it is going to be tricky for us to follow, but we'll try and loop around from the other side of this riverbed and see if we can relocate him, because the thicket that he went through there is far too thick for us to negotiate through. If I remember correctly, it might be somewhere where we can sneak around on the other side of that thicket. What a magical evening it is out here. Hold on. What a beautiful view. Oh, he is performing for us. And again, what's making this angle so amazing is that we are below him. Ashley from Missouri is asking, what is the gestation period of leopard? And it's just over 3 months. I'm going to see if I can creep forward a bit here so that the other vehicle can also squeeze in behind me. That way we've both got a good view. Happy with the light, Andrew?
Beautiful.
Answer to your question regarding the gestation period is roughly 3 months, sometimes just over between 90 and 100 days. What an incredible animal to be spending time with. And again, it's important for me to stress the fact that it's uncommon to view leopard this relaxed with vehicles. It's something that we're very, very privileged with here in the Sabi Sands. It's certainly one of the best places in Africa to view leopard because they are accustomed to the vehicle and they do tolerate our presence and carry on with their lives as normal. Whereas in a lot of places, when you view leopard, it's only fleeting glimpses, as they naturally are very shy and elusive. It's simply because people have been spending time photographing these animals for basically since the 60s in this reserve and investing a lot of time to try and habituate them to the vehicles. I put my camera down, he decided to do that. But he could well do it again one last time. No. It looks like he could head back down into the riverbed, which is great, and I'm guessing he could well head down to the dam where he's going to hopefully have a drink. Well, wasn't that just an incredibly beautiful sighting? I hope you're all enjoying this, because sightings like this don't come around every day. And yes, we may see leopard, but the quality of the sighting, and just like I've said, the fact that we were at an angle slightly lower than him at stages, and also eye level with him, it really does make a difference for the shot we're giving you. So I hope you're really enjoying this, because I am. You could probably tell that by the amount my camera's been clicking off. And I'm just looking back, he's... No, you go. We're just letting yours turn around quickly, and he's such a nice man, yours. He always offers for us to go ahead, but it's only fair that we take turns. But he is a really wonderful guy to have out here, and he spends a lot of time out here, so we do get spoiled by him in certain sightings, as along with a lot of the guides. So that's also something to bear in mind. We get looked after really well by the local guides in this area, and they're very understanding of the job that we have to do, which is considerably different to the job that they have, having to guide guests for a shorter period of time. For us, it's an indefinite safari that will go on for days and days and months, hopefully. So a very different experience. Okay, I'm going to try and turn us around and get us ready to continue.
I think he's gone right down the river there. Yeah.
Yours is just turning around and letting us go in front, which is very kind of him. And this is the moment I've been waiting a long time for, to follow leopard through this riverbed. It really is an enchanted place to follow leopard through. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but there's something about seeing a leopard bed in this environment that is just too good to be true. I'll just warn you in advance, if we see any potential prey, I'm going to cut the lights immediately for two reasons: so that we don't give away his position and that we don't also blind the prey. His eyes are a lot better suited for readjusting.
Start and end your...
when they are being stalked. Imagine how horrifying that must be, being stalked by an animal like a lion or a leopard. You can smell it, you can hear it. But some guys just come along and shine the bright spotlights in your eye. A few woodlands kingfishers getting in their last calls of the evening. And one literally landed just above us now. I need to drive the point home. trees. I'm wondering if he's trying to look for any baboons or monkeys. He could be. We're going to use this opportunity to link ahead of him and try and get some frontal views. Hold on, Andrew. Should be coming around one of these corners at any moment. Just reverse, give him some space when he does hopefully come around this corner. To wonder whether he's laid down, veered off in another direction, or simply stopping, listening, and taking in any surrounding signs or clues that he may be picking up there before continuing towards us. So, let's poke our head around the corner and see if we can see what he's up to and what his plans are. Blessings. Blessings. Could you go again with the name, please, Alex?
Rachel in New Jersey.
Rachel in New Jersey. Thank you, Andrew. Well, Rachel is asking, much longer will Mvula and Karula tolerate these cubs in their territory? That's hard to say. It's really Mvula's decision, not really Karula's. Karula's not going to compete with a male for territory. She's going to compete with females instead. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just try and get a better angle there. So it is up to Mvula. Oh, this is beautiful. So like I said, it is up to Mvula or any other dominant males to kick out other males, and their mother won't be concerned about that. And any time from now, really, they're going to be slinking below the radar, and Mvula will become less and less tolerant of them, and they're going to get the same treatment for a couple of years into every territory they go into. And I hope you're agreeing with me that seeing a leopard walk through a riverbed like this really is something special, especially when he's walking straight towards you. We're just going to keep our distance. So so that we don't interfere with his plans and movements to head down this riverbed. So yes, Rachel, even now they'll be flying below the radar and at any point could be kicked out by their father or other dominant males in this area. Well, that may be the last shot we get of him. He's veered out of this riverbed and is now going to be very difficult to follow, firstly, and secondly, nighttime is the best time for them to hunt. Not that they can't catch prey during the day, but it is a good opportunity for them to hunt, and I think it's best for us to just leave him be, and we'll come back and look for him in the morning certainly and hope he has a successful night hunting. But I don't think we're going to get better images or shots than we did this afternoon. We've had an incredibly lucky afternoon. So, I'm just so happy that it ended up that way, especially after we spent probably over an hour sitting waiting our turn to join the sighting. It all worked out very well in the end. And there's only 10 minutes left, so we might make our way back and maybe look for some owls and chameleons and other interesting animals on the way home. To yours there in the light, because I can't contact him on the radio, but he'll get the picture. Yeah. Well, that is certainly a great way to spend an evening, regardless what day of the week it may be. It is a privilege to view animals in this kind of an environment and to get shots like we did. Now we can look for some other interesting critters, like owls, chameleons, small nocturnal animals. But I've just heard Ben come through on the radio and he's missing you guys and would like to say goodbye. So let's cut across to Brent and he can say goodbye and let you know what he's been up to for the last few moments. So over to Brent, and there's only a few minutes left, so unless we find anything, Brent will probably close off the show. So from myself and Andrew, a big thank you for following us again, and look forward to tomorrow's adventure. See you then.
Evening, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed your afternoon with us. I certainly had a wonderful time, especially with those eddies. It was an incredible sighting. And I just want to say good night, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, morning, or day, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully you'll join us again for a live game drive tomorrow. And we're going to cross over to Scott for the last bit of the game drive while he's with Kunyuma. I am just a little bit jealous. I would really, really, really like to be there. So enjoy, and we'll see you in the morning.
Welcome back, and glad that Brent got to say goodbye. And now we are on a search for any kind of interesting animal that's easier to find at night. As I mentioned earlier, a chameleon is one of them. Even though they're fast asleep, they're easier to spot at night. And another animal that a lot of people are asking about owls again, what owls we might see. So hopefully an owl, I'm just going to have to kill the lights because there's a good guy to blind them. So I'm just going to pull out over the way for them. and them rush on past. They're going to try and get a glimpse of that leopard. Hey Ephraim, keep rushing, good, good. Keep going. Cool. Bye. Okay, well, apologies for that. Good to see Ephraim again. He's one of the other guards. He's been on leave and back, so good to hear his voice on the radio, and just told him the sighting of that leopard, because I know it will be difficult for them if he did continue in that area that he was moving into. Another reptile, along with the chameleon, that is a little bit easier to see at night is snakes. They also show up a slightly paler shade in the trees. So that is another animal we could get lucky with. I've been searching for snakes since I've been back here, and when I mean back, not this trip time, the time before November, and I haven't spotted any yet at night, but we can rectify that, and that can change. Go again, please, Alex. That must have been my imaginary friend. Thank you. Can't emphasize what a wonderful evening it is weather-wise. It's cool, no breeze. The fiery neck nightjars are calling in the distance. And after a leopard sighting like today, there really is nothing we can complain about out here. Yeah. Yeah, some are still fighting back. Come on, owls. Come on, chameleons. Come on, honey badger, aardvark and pangolin. Now, there's a few other nocturnal species that I didn't mention, and those are the aardvark, pangolin, very rare animals to see. I've never seen an aardvark in the Sabi. Oh, I lie. I saw one aardvark in the Manyaleti, so very close to the Sabi Sands when we were on our way back from work here in December. So one aardvark and one pangolin in what will be close to 4 years now of working in this area. Honey badgers I've seen a handful of times. It's another animal that's not strictly nocturnal, but they do tend to move at night out here. Really cool animals that sadly we seldom get to see. Yeah, I saw that as well. A bird just flew off. I'm not sure if it was an owl. Andrew's just got the spotlight out and he's scanning to see if he can find where it landed, if it did land. No luck. What an afternoon it's been. from my side as well as Brent's side. There was a lot of action coming from Brent and Brian's vehicle this afternoon, so happy that they had luck finding some interesting specimens to share with you, and I hope you enjoyed every second of it. I guess even the butterflies we were watching while we were waiting for the leopard was something unique and great to just spend a bit of time and watch something less high intensity and more tranquil for a change. And great that this afternoon we got a good mixture of a lot of different species and a lot of different caliber sightings, if you could term it like that. And again, a huge thank you for all of your support, and look forward to tomorrow's adventure with you.